Hey, AfterBuzzers and iZombie fans, we are here to talk about episode 10, Night in the Zombie City. I don't even know where to begin. This episode gave us so much juice, and I cannot even believe Donna E's getting married. Liv finally finds out her dad is the bad guy, and Martin is not to be trusted. And we've got an amazing guest, John Emmet Tracy, here with us, also known as Enzo. We cannot wait to get into all of that and more right after this.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Guys, welcome back. It feels like it's been 5 months, but it's only been, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Way too long.
Yeah, too long for iZombie fans because they were off the air last week because of the 4th, but we're back. And better than ever because we've got John Emmet Tracy up in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Also known as Enzo.
Hello.
Don't worry, guys. He's much nicer in person than he is in the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited. It was great watching you watch the show. That was the thing that I couldn't believe. Suddenly there would be eruptions of what?
Yeah.
No. And then holding each other for support.
Yes.
I saw that. There was a lot of
Standing up,
There was a
Fainting.
point literally where I couldn't sit because this episode had me so up in arms. But before we get into it, I'm going to introduce our lovely panel. I am Ally Nasta, and I'm joined by the amazing Nakia Monet.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Nakia Monet. I am also in the chat, and you guys are already in there, and they're super excited. They're screaming, Enzo, Enzo, Enzo. So make sure you guys shoot your questions through, and I'll make sure to send them to John's way.
Yes, and we won't be forgetting about them. It'll probably be more towards the end of the show, though. And then our lovely news and gossip queen, Shawntierra Mapp.
Hey guys, what's up?
Overall thoughts of this episode, guys? Clearly we loved it.
For sure.
I think all of our emotions, this to me was my favorite episode. I love noir. Some weird like that. But this episode, there was so many things. It was like 20 different bombs that were dropping. Mm-hmm. And like you said, John, like our reactions, we were like, wait, what? Huh? What? Huh? It was crazy. So this was a really good episode. I loved it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with her. I think that there was just so much going on. And I feel like it's just, obviously when they're wrapping up the season, but I feel like it's just going to be crazy the next few episodes.
Yeah.
So
I can't even imagine what more can be dropped because now we've got the answers to the questions we've had because we've had so many conspiracies as to what's going to happen. Is there going to be uprisings? Is it who's going to be the one that destructs the town or what happens? And so this episode we find out that big explosion, which is obviously behind Martin. But let's just jump and dive right in. Let's start with the Department of Defense. So more than half of them now are zombies, and they have to make a vote whether to destroy Seattle or to basically save them. What was your reaction when you found out that they were trying to protect Seattle after all of this kind of back and forth?
I was actually shocked, but I think you know what happened. I think when they came to Seattle and they actually sat down and realized, wait, these people are actually human and no pun intended, but these people have souls, they have lives, and maybe we shouldn't just bomb the city. I don't know. I was shocked because I thought that they were going to go forward, and I don't know if it's the general that sits on the council with them, who's now low-key, down-low zombie. Of course, he wanted to get rid of everybody, but so I was very shocked that she was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're better than that. We're better people, so.
Absolutely.
And I'm just kind of shocked at the same time, though, because why is he so focused on getting rid of them if he is one?
Well, that's like that crazy lady, Dolly
Durkin.
Yeah, her kid's a zombie and she hates them, and now he's always hated them, and now that he's one, and I think his daughter's now dead, he may not have anything to live for, so he's probably like, I don't care, kill them all.
But he's not even living there.
Yeah, that is true.
Do you have any thoughts on this, John?
Well, it's so funny to listen to this conversation because it's sort of like I wrapped the birthday present, so I know what you're going to get. You know what I mean?
I know.
And to hear you guys throw these ideas. Well, and even this though, to watch you watching the episode, it's the same thing that we do when we read it. It's the same thing. And a lot of times, someone will be in the makeup chair and go, "What?"
Yeah.
And then everybody will go, "Did you get to the yeah." And it's kind of an exciting thing for us, and especially because different departments on set will get the scripts before other departments.
Right.
And so, there'll be rumors, and you kind of ask the makeup department, hey, what's gonna, and they go, I'm not gonna tell you, or they'll hint little things while they're working on it. They'll say, oh, did you hear what you're gonna do next week? And you go, no, what? And they go, no, I'm not gonna tell you. So yeah, you're home reading or you're reading it on set, and people are doing the same thing. So. I'll just go ahead and tell you everything to the end.
Okay, perfect.
Just
the season you guys want to hear right to the end? Okay. There we go.
And this kind of leads me to one of my questions. So obviously you know how the show ends, but did you have any particular predictions that when you were reading this before you actually read the final season finale?
Oh, yeah.
What was one of your biggest predictions or assumptions of how the season would end?
I can't remember. It's funny because now I know it, and I'm trying to remember back what we all did.
Yeah.
Everybody had predictions, and I don't say get heated, but people go, no, there's no way that's gonna, and then just like I'm doing here today, one of the showrunners or writers would be there, and they'd say, we'll see. Basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't remember specific predictions, but I do know this. I remember reading the final episode and coming into work early because I really wanted to see what other people had gotten it at sort of at the same time, and you'd see people and go, you just connect with them and think, oh, are you kidding me? Really? How? This is so exciting. Whatever the reaction was from each different person, but I will say this, which by the way, Ellie, I've said that a couple of times and I haven't said anything. Right? I keep telling you,
We're not trying to trick you, I promise.
But I can say this. I don't think it's going to end the way anybody's predicting. I can say. Yeah, I think I can safely say that, which means, anything I can imagine you guys thinking, we all did.
It's not true. Well, and it was funny because last season we all thought it was the end, as well as I'm sure everybody kind of on set because they hadn't announced that it was getting picked up. I don't know if you guys knew any earlier than we did about the pickup.
No.
But we were thinking the way it ended, we were like, okay, we could be not happy, but we could be satisfied knowing that they all kind of come together and are there for each other at the end of the season. But the way it picked up back up this season, we were very shocked and the way that they kind of reopened a bunch of wounds that were closed. Mm-hmm. But now it's kind of all coming together, and we were a little impatient. We kept putting our trust. We knew the writers would do us right. But I think, episode 1, we were really shook because the way it ended and the way it reopened was nothing about how we expected. So I can only imagine what they're going to do with the season finale.
Yeah, we didn't know before you knew. In fact, you might have known before us. I'm not sure. But I remember it must have been 2 weeks before it was announced. Because remember, the CW announced a bunch of its shows.
Yeah.
And said no word yet on iZombie. And somewhere around that week, I was working on another series, and in the episode, Malcolm, who plays Clive, was in the episode.
Oh, fun.
So somebody told one of us that the other one was on set, and we found each other and said, do you know? He said, I don't know. We both were kind of, and I think it was within a couple of days that, and in fact, it was funny because then somebody said to us, well, hang on, come here, and knocked on another trailer door, and Adam Graydon Reed, who plays Hobbs, remember Hobbs? He was also on set that day for this other show. So it was like this.
Reunited.
Yeah, we were all going, so what do you know? And what do you know? Yeah, it was really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, jumping back into this episode specifically, Liv had a lot of revelations this episode, and there was a lot of turmoil in her finding out that her dad is actually the reason she's a zombie. Let me ask you this. Were you a little shocked at her reaction? I thought she was going to be way more pissed off and upset that she's finding out. I feel like she was very calm and cool and collected for what she's used to blowing up, because usually she cuts people off. If she's upset, she's like, goodbye, I'm done with this. But she seems to have a little bit more held on to with building this relationship with her dad, and she wasn't ready to let it go. Did you guys kind of get that too?
I definitely did. I felt more like hurt from her.
Yeah.
I mean, when she was standing at the door, you could hear like how disappointed she was, like in the words that she used. But I mean, I'm really not surprised. Like, I don't think that she would have just been like, okay, I'm just gonna cut you completely off. I mean, I don't think that they would. That's not how they would write the episode,
right?
You know, because I feel like that something more obvious is gonna happen. But yeah, I think again, it's just more her just being hurt.
Yeah, and I also think it's one of those things where, like, this is someone you've never met before. You're now, I believe, in your late 20s, 30s, and this guy comes into your life. And though you've probably said you've been fine your whole life, it's a weird emotion when you're like, oh, but it is my dad. I'm about to get all psychological. I'm like, because when people have daddy issues.
Yeah.
And And I think it's one of those things that she's been longing for, but I also think in the back of her mind, she always knew, like, okay, one, he's on drugs. Though she didn't know who he really was, I think she always knew something wasn't good about him. So it's one of those things where you try not to expect everything so your feelings don't get hurt. So I think the reaction, though she was on the brain, she was like, he may have something going on anyway.
Yeah.
But I think it's also one of those things where she's like, it's a weird reaction where you're like, he has something going on, but I may need to see it for myself.
Right.
So I'm interested to see going forward what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's why I say he does such a good job acting where I'm like, is he genuinely like, is he going to kill her? Or does he really care? And he does an amazing job.
He does. I think I was saying a couple weeks ago, like, he's kind of creepy.
He's so cryptic.
Okay, he's very creepy. Like, I really want to give him the benefit of a doubt. I was like thinking, but he's so nice. Like, maybe he means well. And now I'm like thinking, no, like, he's just very manipulative and just plays like the nice guy.
I was going to say, John, I know you and him film a lot of scenes together. Yeah. And I was like on your social media and I've seen all the funny pictures that you guys take. And like, what has it been like filming? I mean, because you guys aren't the nice guys on this show.
What? Did you think
that? You guys aren't the nicest people on the show. So what is it like filming together?
Okay. Well, you know, it's as I'm sure you know, everybody's a nice guy on set, you know, and everybody gets along. Bill is particularly, I mean, he's a riot. He's so much fun to work with, and a lot of that energy you're talking about, that kind of unpredictable energy, is kind of something that well, first of all, he brings it to the role, and I agree with you guys. He does a fantastic job. I even remember the very first time he was on set, we shot a scene in the back of the van. Do you remember that? Kind of 70s van with the shag carpet.
Yes.
First couple times we saw him,
Yeah.
And they had him in kind of a, you know, vintage shirt.
Yes.
And he really, I mean, I think I had to just sit opposite him and watch him sort of be threatening. And he's quite scary and quite volatile. But of course, in reality, he's very funny and extremely easy to get along with. And I even we text all the time now, you know, and he'll say, well, anyway, we'll just talk about the show. You know, that happens a lot of times with the cast. But so, you know, working with him has been great. And in fact, it was really refreshing for all of us because we ended the last season with Brother Love, right? And a lot of people were saying, well, where's this going to go? Who's next? And what's going to happen? And reading about him and then reading about his head, you know, and the whole thing, we thought, whoa, this is incredible. And I just remember him coming in and saying, let's have a blast, you know, and just doing his thing. So
yeah, you guys
I have a quick question, just to follow up on what you were saying, how you said you guys text and you guys have a good friendship. How is it like working with everybody else like on the show? Because I feel like it would be a great time. It would be fun.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the leads. Let's just talk about, you know, the main three and then the main sort of 5 or 6 or 7. And it's going to sound like I'm saying this because people say this, but they're really close with each other. I mean, it really, and I think it translates. I think you can see that when you're watching the show.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, it's. I mean, they do things like the first couple episodes will be cut together, and they'll get together at someone's house and sit there with Dan and watch the episodes and have popcorn and kind of. I mean, they do that, and not every show is like that. You know, not every set of leads are really close off camera, so they really are close and. A lot of laughter, you know, an awful lot of laughter. I think sometimes the crazier the story or the more intense or the more whatever, that's when everyone gets the giggles and it gets really funny. And I couldn't tell, I mean, to watch them all trying to make each other laugh is really my main memory of being there. And the crew, you know, I think for most actors, we don't have the same experience that a lot of you do watching it. It's not we don't really get lost necessarily in the storyline. You'll remember, you know, the Grip who was just having, his wife's just having a baby that day. Or you remember the day you shot it and how cold it was, or those great sandwiches that day. Like we'll remember the day and the people we were looking at, and they're just as much your coworkers as the rest of the cast. So I don't know if I answered, but
you did.
I'll just say it's great.
I get that, even just from like being on social media and seeing how they support each other, and if someone has like a movie coming out or. They're always like retweeting it and reposting it. So exactly like that, and they're very supportive of each other. And it sort of starts at the top, right? The show creators and the producers and the writers, the lead cast, all the way down. You know, it was a really happy place to work, and you know, we like I said, we see each other now sometimes either on different shows or
once in a while there's some event around the show. And now that things are, coming to an end,
I know.
there'll be a bit more. I know, yeah, there'll be a bit more of that. But so yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Well, clearly, obviously, it's a great cast. Everybody's amazing, and obviously, those of you on social media that know Enzo to be a bad guy, it's just a character. Obviously, that has nothing to do with John or who plays Martin as well. But Martin in the show, he's the reason this utopian and everything has happened. But he had a master plan that obviously we're just finding out as an audience. And Enzo is part of that master plan. Obviously, we are trying to kind of backtrack and know what Enzo's kind of goal was. Do you think, can you tell us in the character research that you might have done, has Enzo kind of always been a part of this plan, or is this something that's kind of new to him, knowing that now he doesn't have any loyalty with Major?
Right, okay. Kind of tough one to answer, but I will say this, the thing about Enzo is that you remember he's always been a company man, right?
Yeah.
He's always been Fillmore Graves, and you don't speak to your commander this way, and you don't, this is what he says, we follow those rules. And yet, as you notice when Enzo went on ice, he preferred the way Chase Graves was running things, right? He preferred that more iron-fisted kind of approach. And I think a lot of the generals and people in the company are starting to, worry about how Major's doing it, right? So I think it probably took an awful lot of disillusionment and disenchantment in a man like Enzo, who truly wants to follow the rules. He wants to follow the leader. You may remember at the end of season 4, it really started to look like he was following Brother Love, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And something that a few people have spotted and mentioned to me in interviews and things, just when it looked like he was, if you caught at that last episode, it was Enzo that was doing the alliance with the military.
Right.
And he took down Brother Love and the radicalized zombies, even though, you think of Enzo as kind of a radical zombie, don't you? But he had them all taken out, sort of saved the world from a zombie apocalypse, and built bridges between Fillmore Graves and the military. So he all along was working for Fillmore Graves at that point. So yeah, I think in terms of how early I knew what was going on, we do get some information ahead of time, not as far in advance as you might think.
Of course.
And then there are these really funny conversations where, like for example, last season, I can talk safely all day about last season. What do you want to
Sorry,
know?
we're making it so tricky.
No, I'll tell you everything. But you would know, for example, that Enzo wasn't really going to be siding with Brother Love.
Right.
And so then you'd say to the director, so do you want this to feel like if it's watched a second time, they can go, oh, I see, he didn't. Yeah. And so sometimes we would put in a little shade of that. A second viewing will show you a flicker of doubt across his face, or not just Enzo, but anybody in the show. So we usually find out, 5 or 6 weeks ahead of time that there's going to be a bit of an angle change.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good to know, too, especially because, I wasn't 100% shocked to see Enzo with Martin and the super zombies, per se, but it was kind of like, okay, all right, who else is joining this bandwagon? But Martin, obviously, he's a huge liar. He's lied about everything. He's really using Robbie to his advantage to kind of figure out more about how he can make his zombies stronger to then take over the world. But, I'm still kind of toying and kind of questioning the fact that, why does he want to take over the world? Is it just his messed up brain? What is his motive? I'm still lacking the knowledge of that, and I'm like, what's happening? Do you guys feel the same way?
Could be his drug brain.
Maybe.
I feel like when he was super high, he was like, you know what? I have a really good idea. What if when certain people are high, he's like, what if zombies came into the world and I can control them, and I had a whole army and it was like apocalyptic and we can kill everybody. And I feel like he created this thing where he's like, oh, I can actually do that and have a team with me so far where I can manipulate the one person that I love. We can manipulate the coyotes. And now, sorry, I'm thinking about the general working with Dolly. He has the zombies raised up on the max rages. So I think he's just like, why not?
Yeah, and like all up on the power trip.
I think it's a power trip.
But it's also interesting too because Liv's mom has mentioned, that he was always focused on drugs and his work and being a scientist, kind of as being a doctor and learning about all of the medicines and things. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe it has always been a goal of his, if he's always been kind of sidetracked and not focused on his family. Who knows where this came from in his upbringing? But I feel like he maybe did have this larger plan all along. But it's just wild of how it's come to fruition. And obviously owed in credit to the writers for bringing us on this journey and being able to tie it all together. And obviously the reason Liv became a zombie is because of her dad, which is still so wild.
But I think it's brilliant how they're like keeping us guessing. Because I really was struggling to figure out if he was a good guy or not. I mean, he kind of had me thinking, okay, he may mean well, So I think that it's so interesting because just even now watching this episode, I feel like they're giving us a little bit more and more and more, but like you said, the bigger picture, we don't really know what's happening, so I'm excited to see what his end goal is, because I really don't know either.
And it's so funny because after we watch an episode, we all are thinking, okay, we get it now. And then we break it down, and then I still have so many questions, and I'm still wondering what's going to happen. But at least we kind of have answers knowing that what Martin's main actual goal is, but the way it's kind of going to be surrounded and how it's going to unfold will be definitely a mystery. Also, the fact that he's able to get people to work inside Fillmore Graves and hurt themselves for him is wild.
It's crazy.
Straight up wild.
Terrorist jobs.
Did Justin surprise all of you?
Yeah. That's the.
I think that's when you screamed.
Yeah, that's why I literally freaked out because I was not expecting it.
I wasn't expecting it.
I wasn't either. Allie screamed and turned to her head. She's like, I can't look.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But I mean, I like that the writers brought up the part where Major is alerted that the key cards aren't working, and when she said that, I'm like, okay, I feel like something shady is gonna happen. But in my mind, I had no idea it would be Martin chatting with Ravi, stealing a key card to get into Fillmore Graves, having this guy sacrifice his life like a terrorist and be like, I'm gonna steal it, now I'm gonna kill myself.
That's crazy.
And it's not until I think we found out when Martin and Enzo, they were talking about the Max Rage, but we were like, oh, okay. Tonight was an emotional roller coaster, and we couldn't take it.
Yeah, we were freaking out about everything.
Which is a good thing.
And one of the biggest emotional roller coasters that I had today was finally seeing not Donnie, but Blaine and Liv go at it.
Yes.
Everybody has been wanting that to happen.
That was one of the screams.
Yes. I think we were like, yeah, finally. Because I am not a Blaine fan. He really gets under my skin, and I just hate that he gets away with everything. He finally was in jail that only lasted an episode. He just is so... he's like a snake. He can slither his way out of anything.
And I'm a Blaine fan.
I am too, yeah.
Okay.
But
I know. Don't let me get across the table.
I'm a Blaine fan, but it's to the point where I'm like, I know he's horrible and he needs to just go already, but he's so good. So I think this is the first episode. I was like, oh, she's gonna shoot him good. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Liv's gonna throw down with him.
No. I think what's also toying with my brain is apparently we read somewhere that Blaine is gonna get his comeuppance essentially. And I keep thinking every episode that the comeuppance is coming, and then it doesn't, and then I get let down. But before we get more into this crazy Blaine, Donnie, and Liv story, I would love Nakia to tell you guys a little bit more about us at AfterBuzz and how much we are thankful for you.
Yeah, shout out to you guys for tuning in right now. If you guys are live on YouTube, make sure you guys give us, I'm tired, a thumbs up or 5 stars, because we really do appreciate you guys. But don't fear, we have totally other new things on the channel for you guys to check out. Not just sci-fi, not just reality TV. There's also drama, so make sure you guys check that out because we would really appreciate it. We are also on iTunes and Spotify now, so you guys can give us some comments on there and 5 stars. And make sure you leave comments because we are in the chat and we will shout you guys out. We really do appreciate it because without you guys, we would be nowhere. And make sure you guys send some questions for John because that would be really appreciated. Again, from us to you, this is my late 4th of July present. Thank you guys for helping us be the ESPN of TV Talk. We really do appreciate it.
You are amazing, and please, like we said, join us in the chat with some questions in a couple of minutes because we've got to wrap up this episode and then obviously grill John about everything iZombie. Okay, so I literally wrote in my notes, Blaine is still here. Like, what is he doing?
Why is he alive?
I literally was wondering. 2 question marks. And so I'm just still wondering his motives and this whole cure. I get it. They got stolen and he wants to make money off of it. But was that his sole reason in finding the cure so then he could sell it again?
I think so. I think he's trying to make more money because I think we're at the point where he gets arrested after that kid gets killed. Everything gets taken away from him. He doesn't really have anything anymore. That girl exposed him. And I think Blaine's just always just trying to make money. He doesn't care. We see what happened with him and his dad. I feel like he doesn't care about anyone but himself. So I think he's just trying to make money.
Make $1.
At the same time, he doesn't
John's smiling.
It's so strange.
I know. He's like,
it's so
I know
strange.
what's happening.
Honestly, to be sitting here, which is great. I love all of this.
Yeah.
But what's going through my mind is, don't make any faces. Just be as serious as you can.
You look down, you're like...
And then I made myself laugh, and then you thought, oh, that means something.
I thought maybe you had some thoughts about Blaine yourself.
Well, Blaine ends up joining the priesthood. Can I say that? Is it okay if I...
Oh, man. Yeah, so I'm still wondering what even he's doing. But clearly you're right. I think Nakia, his sole motive this whole entire series has been money and himself. Yeah. So I think that's just kind of what it is that's why he was trying to find it so bad. But clearly, I guess... Candy just took it so then she could go live a nice, happy life with her boyfriend. Yeah. So at least it went to someone that kind of deserves it.
And low-key, I was happy because they're so mean to her.
I know.
And I think the one thing Blaine said to her was like, shouldn't you be laying on your back? And I think that was one of the screams. And I was like, oh, that's so rude.
That was one where I literally was like, ugh, I hate him.
And I think at that moment, I was like, you know what? You go, Candy.
Yeah.
You steal that cure and live your best life and ride into the sunset with your boo on a motorcycle.
And you guys call Enzo mean. He would never say that.
I know, right?
Seriously.
No.
Do you know how she even found the cure?
They did it
because I don't remember them tying that in because we were wondering if she even killed Bunny and Chisel, but
I don't think she
it was
did.
Jane.
This was my prediction. I don't know when they ate Jane's brain. I don't know if she had a piece of it and then had a vision to see that because Chisel was on his way with the cure in his pocket.
Right.
That's who Bunny was on the phone with. So I don't know if she just happened to have a vision, but at the same time, Blaine and Liv also found out about the cleaner's receipt. Yeah. So I don't know if she ate the brain. I didn't see it. I think I missed it.
Okay. Sometimes when Liv has found like the answer to all of these crimes, I have to sit there and listen intently because she goes through all of these things as to how it comes together, and it's mind blowing. Something else that was also mind blowing is the fact that Donna E proposed to Darcy. Donna E finally gets happiness. This is well deserved.
Yeah.
Yes. This is one thing you can say.
Absolutely.
Donna E deserves happiness. Yep. Even like after he's had so much, just Blaine has ruined his life. Yeah. Even now he's living with his mom.
His twin is dead. Like he said, everyone in his life has died.
Yeah.
And I think, and of course this girl, we know why she's there for a reason. And I feel like he may be the person to end Blaine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait.
I didn't think about that.
That's an epic prediction.
That is.
Sorry. I know we're early for predictions, but
we are.
That would be an epic one.
He's in love. Now they're about to get married, kind of save her life.
Prediction, and I'm going to say it now because I might forget it. But okay, so I think that Darcy might die because of because of her Freilich brain, and then Donna's going to be so upset and blame everything on Blaine, and then boom.
That's a good one.
John's like, I'm just going to look at the screen.
Right. That is a good one.
Yeah.
But I think it's also something we talked about too. I just don't see a happy ending across the board. Like it's like Ravi and Peyton, we all want to live and Major back together, which is like duh, but it's like, is it gonna happen? I just don't see all these happy endings.
Yeah. It's gonna be weird how they fight it all together.
Yeah.
But I am excited. And this episode, it was good. It was a good one.
It was a good one.
But I think that kind of wraps up all of our thoughts. Does anybody have any last minute things before we grill John a little bit?
This was a crazy episode.
It was a lot of fun. Good. Let's start it off by taking some fun questions in the chat.
Yeah. So obviously, John, the fans have noticed you do not have your French accent. Someone asked, was it hard doing that accent, and was the accent always written for the character?
Well, I should say the accent is my real voice. I'm just putting this on. Well, I thought it would be nice.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Yes, it was written. Enzo was originally written to just be in the one episode, and in fact, it wasn't it wasn't the episode where you first met him. He was in season 4, episode 1. And he was part of a sort of a 15-minute storyline. The whole thing had to get taken out. So they reused a lot of what he had said in that episode when they brought him in I think it was episode 4 or 5 last year. So yes, it was, to answer your question, it was always intended to be the accent. In fact, it was mentioned several times. I remember the casting notice saying, I'm going to get this wrong, but it was something like, with a ridiculously over-the-top, phony French accent that you could cut with a knife. I think was the phrase in there. And then the first script he was in referenced Talladega Nights. Sacha Baron Cohen,
Yes.
you know. And it said he's got this affected manner and kind of, you know, ridiculous clothes. Although, shout out to Michelle, our costumer, because everybody on set loved that cape.
That cape's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just putting that out
cape's
there.
amazing. Maybe I can tell you this. They actually gave me one when it was over. Yeah, we had a few. Yeah, it was really nice. So I just wear it.
Just casually, 4th of July.
Well, when I go out. Like, just when I go out somewhere nice. No, but... So it was always written in, and I remember very well the day I auditioned to play Enzo, and again, thinking it was just the one episode. It was a very strange day because I had 5 auditions that day, which is not necessarily a normal thing, but they were all really serious, intense, kind of dramatic things. And at the end of the day, it was maybe 6 o'clock at night, and I had this one, and it was, you know, ridiculous. I thought, oh, this will be fun. You know, so I just... went really crazy with the accent. And in fact, which many people may have noticed, sometimes I will bend little words or sounds in kind of just especially last season, a comedic way, even if it's not fully, you know, authentic, more just for the effect. So, but when I got the job and went to set, I remember asking one of the producers, so do you really want it that? And they went, yeah, let's just have fun. Let's go crazy with it. So that was really sort of interesting at the beginning, because even for all of us just getting through takes with that, you know, kind of, when I was with Liv and Clive and Ravi, they were able to just kind of roll their eyes when I'd say some, you know, deepy boom boom. They would kind of, oh. But then when I'd be with, you know, Chase Graves and these guys, they'd have to be very serious, you know. And it kind of got Napoleon sitting across the table from them. So it was kind of an interesting challenge. And to answer the second part, I think maybe I have a little bit already. It's not difficult because we're sort of having fun. In fact, I remember saying to somebody, so do you want this and that? Because, you know, maybe French people would say this and that, or, you know, they said, yeah, let's just go for it. So we did, and you may notice that in this season, he has evolved a bit. He doesn't have these funny phrases, these kind of have fun getting jiggy with it, or whatever. He doesn't say any of that anymore, and it's getting more sinister. And so we had to talk then, too, about, so do we taper off and the decision was, no, let's keep going. You know, let's just keep going with it. So that's been kind of a fun challenge for me. I've really enjoyed playing sort of more dramatic bits, but hanging on to the ridiculous. It's been fun. I really enjoy it. Yeah,
that's awesome. Because you had all of us cracking up last season.
Seriously.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Did you practice your French accent beforehand, or is it something that you learned for the character? Like, was it something you always joked around with, or is it kind of something you really cultivated once you got the character?
Well, you say once I got the character. So it was the end of the long audition day, and then I found out the next day I got the part, and I think I was on set the next day, actually.
Oh, wow.
So you just were like, all right, let's go with it.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, but then they brought me to my wardrobe fitting, and I saw the cape and the buttons and the thing, and I thought, oh, okay, well, I see where we are.
Yeah.
And then, our key hair artist, we started talking about these little sideburns, that are kind of curling around his face, and the kind of, I don't know, like the sort of Liza Minnelli curls that he's got there. So
it's a signature look.
Yeah, really, we were going for something fun and extreme,
Yeah,
really.
I love it.
It's a fave. I have another question. John, how much time did it take to film the last episode? If you can.
Yeah. As I said earlier, it's gonna sound like I'm just saying this. No, I was gonna say our crew is phenomenal, and the last episode is so full, and there's so much to do, and it felt as though how can we get through all this? This is so much. But somebody could correct me from the show, but I don't think we went any longer than what we normally do on an episode. They're just so efficient, and Rose kind of, in terms of the cast, she leads the company and kind of leads the whole team in a way, right? Mm-hmm. With her energy and her positive nature and her sense of humor, and those guys sometimes they're working 15-hour days, and and she was always upbeat, and so I think. Somebody correct me, but I think we got through it in the normal amount of time, but covered an awful lot in that time. So
it's good to know.
Yeah,
we'll see when you see it in a couple weeks, right? Yes. Call me and
we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
That's good to go.
Alrighty. I do have a question. Taking Enzo out of the picture and just being, an iZombie viewer, are you team Liv and Major getting back together?
I mean, Buckley and I used to talk about that, who plays Major, and I don't think I ever talked to Rose about it, but I remember asking him for predictions what he thought, and he kind of was being as cagey as I'm about to be right now, and say, I don't know, we'll never say. But yeah, absolutely, and I'm trying to separate my understanding of the people that play the parts and how great they are together as friends and how funny they are together. I think a lot of us wanted to see them do more scenes together,
Yeah.
And maybe you guys did too. They're great, on camera together. So in that sense, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when they had the dinner table scene, when they were sitting at the ends, and then they had the foster kids that that were sitting at the table, I almost cried thinking, oh my gosh, they're gonna get back together. What's gonna happen? But it's been funny because we've even said that Liv has had a lot of great relationships throughout the show, and every time we've become attached to them, they get killed. Yeah. And it's been so heartbreaking because we wanted her to be happy, but then we also know that she's super independent, so she doesn't need a guy to kind of have an end game with. But it's so hard because she always ends up finding her way back to having a friendship with Major. And for us, I think it's just something where it's comfort as an audience member too, because everybody we grow to love, like Daniel Bonjour. Yeah. We loved him, and that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
At the end of last season, but so it's just fun to hear your take too, because I love them together.
I love them together.
Yeah.
Me too.
Goals.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they're. Joke is too strong a word, but there are sometimes, when a new love interest will come on the show, some of the leads will go, okay, good luck.
Seriously, because every single one she had, they all died. It's so
a curse.
It's so depressing. Really quick, before we run out of time, we love to do a little fun this or that of what John Emmet Tracy loves. So coffee or tea?
Tea.
What kind of tea?
Breakfast tea, Earl Grey tea.
So definitely caffeine.
Tea, caffeine tea.
Okay,
absolutely,
cool.
Caffeine tea.
TV or movies?
TV, namely the CW.
What's your favorite? Yes,
iZombie.
Favorite show, iZombie.
Correct.
Easy. Night in or night out?
Night in.
Night in. What do you like to do? Watch movies, Netflix?
Watch myself on TV.
That's perfect.
I've got kids, and my wife and I, we do like a night in. So it's generally, when people talk to me about the great new shows, have you seen this? And I say, well, I've seen Frozen.
About 100 times.
Yeah. And so, but that's a great night in for me. Yeah.
So fun. Texting or calling?
More texting.
Texting.
Sure.
Same.
iZombie zombies or Walking Dead zombies?
Oh, iZombie zombies. iZombie zombies.
Summer or winter?
So I can't say autumn?
You can say autumn too.
Autumn, please.
Autumn. Okay. Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Sweet. What's your favorite sweet, kryptonite? Something that if it's in front of you, you cannot not have it.
I like mint chocolate chip ice cream. Ooh. Is this interesting? Do you want to know my ice cream?
People love that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lot of people's favorites.
I want to say something French, like French pastry. French, but mint chocolate chip. That's my.
All right.
That's my.
Super fun. Again, you are the best. Thank you so much. Before we get into predictions, we have to talk about our zombie story of the day. So to fill you in, we always talk about a crazy zombie news story. In the past, we've had zombie raccoons, zombie deers, zombie snakes. Yeah. One time, Florida did a false zombie alert when there was a power outage. Think about how fun that would have been to get that notification on your phone. So I'm just going to read the headline. This is from Business Insider, which was actually on June 26th. It says, a fungus causes cicadas to lose their limbs and try to mate with everything they encounter. Researchers found here are 10 examples of zombie animals in nature.
What?
Yes. So basically, there's just a bunch of different reasons, but the cicadas, they call them the flying salt shakers of death, since infected bugs douse other cicadas and the spores that cause. Okay, really gross. But so basically, these cicadas, I think, they're dying and then infecting each other. But it's the weirdest thing. So basically, we've got so far cicada zombies. I just named the other couple because there was raccoons and deers and snakes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
don't trust
scary
the
animals,
I'm
guys.
I'm kidding.
And now you know how this series ends.
Yeah,
The
That's the
animals
ending
are
of
gonna
the
it's
show.
take
the
over.
animals that are actually happening right now. Anyways, and one last question. We're gonna off of the zombie topic, on to more of John. Any projects you have working on right now?
I do. I am actually working on something now, and it's a exciting project, but it's going to be announced in the next 2 days, so I can't. I got to be that guy.
That's okay. So
I'm not allowed
basically, they need to
We're
follow
gonna be
you on
seeing
social
you.
media, and then we'll find out.
Check in a couple of days. Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Perfect.
something I'm working on right now that I'm really excited to share.
So exciting.
Yeah.
And I want
for
to mention
asking.
one thing. I did see on social media that it was your birthday, July 2nd.
Whoa!
Hey.
Wow.
So happy belated birthday.
Thank
Happy belated
you
birthday.
very much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's amazing.
Do you have any news and gossip for us, Shawntierra?
I do. I'm gonna. That was part of it.
Amazing. Well,
Birthday.
happy belated birthday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And then I also saw really quick that Rose McIver was nominated for Summer TV Actress.
Love
so I
it.
went on to the Teen Choice Awards website,
Yeah.
and then I voted for her today.
Yay! So
Real
go
quick.
vote.
Awesome.
Right, yeah, you can still vote. Just put in your email, and then it's like 10 votes a day.
Amazing. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Alrighty, guys, some flash lightning round predictions. Let's have it.
The animals are gonna take over and kill
The bugs.
Everybody.
What did I say earlier? Oh, my prediction I'm gonna stick with. I think Dawn E is gonna be the person to take Blaine down. Now I'm really nervous because you said that it may not end what we think. I don't know. It's like I think we have like 4 more episodes or 3 more episodes left, and it's just this episode we got hit with like 20 bombs, and now we see that Liv and Ravi now see the zombies. So I'm really interested to see what's gonna happen. But I'm gonna stick with Donnie. He's gonna definitely be the person to take Blaine down.
Yeah, I
But with
love
Martin,
that.
I have no idea. Like
He's
the writers
off
did such
the
a great
cuff.
job where I'm like
I know.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was gonna try to take a stab at that. The only thing I think of is I believe if anyone's gonna take him down, I do think it's gonna be Liv.
Yeah. Blaine or Martin?
Sorry, Martin.
Okay.
Martin. But I do think that I mean, obviously, I think that Major and Liv may work it out, obviously. But I really like yours. I do agree with that. I do think that Donnie's gonna take down Blaine.
I think he's going to be so upset, like I said
Yeah.
before, about the love of his life leaving him because everybody he loves leaves him. And it's just going to be
He's already
super
pissed at
depressing.
Blaine, so I don't know.
And he's just over it all. Like
Yeah.
every time he tries to do something good, he just gets set back 10 steps, and it's just frustrating.
Yeah. And one last thing too,
yeah.
I think Peyton is gonna do something too. Because I feel like with her not being like the active mayor anymore, I just really, really think that I don't know. What if she ended up taking Martin down or ended up taking Blaine down, her ex?
Oh, that would be
That'd be interesting.
so interesting.
That would
There
be
are
perfect.
so many different ways that this story could end, and it pains me to say we only have a couple episodes left because we love the show so much.
If Blaine marries Liv, then he'll just die. Right?
Right?
Literally. So maybe we just do that.
Easy way for them
Right.
to, yeah.
That would be amazing. Well, again, John, thank you so much for joining
you
us.
guys.
It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Yes.
Where can they find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter, John Emmet Tracy, and also on Instagram, it's J.E. Tracy.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So make sure you check back on his Instagram in 2 days to find out about these really fun, amazing projects you've got on the pipeline. And then in the meantime, Shawntierra, where can they find you on social media?
At Shawntierra on Instagram, Twitter.
And Nakia?
You guys can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom.
And hey guys, Ally Nasta here. Find me on Instagram at AlleyGirl. And of course, follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms. We will see you next week. Bye guys.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.